Hey guys, what's going on? It's Rekt Capital and welcome back to the Rekt Capital channel. We're going to be talking about the 4-year cycle and what could be next for Bitcoin's price action through the lens of this 4-year cycle. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future and let's dive right in. This is one 4-year cycle. This is one 4-year cycle, and theoretically we're also beginning a 4-year cycle right now. Now, the thing about this current 4-year cycle is that we haven't seen much upside in candle 1 compared to the previous candle 1s in previous 4-year cycles. So that's one thing to bear in mind. And one of the things I want to mention in this video are the 4-year cycle levels to focus on a potential pullback from these levels before further upside. So in an early tweet in sometime in January, I spoke about a retrace being possible in Q1 of 2021, that historically a Bitcoin retrace tends to occur early in the 4-year cycle, the new 4-year cycle, where an old resistance, which is red, turns into a green support. And of course, these are the 4-year cycle levels in general, but a fall to 13.9 is unlikely. So let's have a look at those 4-year cycle levels through the lens of today's price action. So you can see that comparing to this candle right over here in early January, we've now produced an upside wick, but we're essentially at the same price levels, right? Because in early January, we were also at 31K. And we're at 31K effectively right now, but we have that upside wick towards the upside to those new all-time highs of 65,000. So we're currently very close to one 4-year cycle level, and that's the 29,000 region. And in fact, we've already tested that level, as you can see with the downside wick. We've tested that as support, but at the moment, we're not seeing much buy-side momentum from there. And if that support gives way, then we'll probably have to look at the next 4-year cycle levels, which would be either or these two levels. Now, of course, 13.9K is quite unlikely, but what I want to focus on here is what do we tend to see in these 4-year cycles? So in this 4-year cycle front, for instance, right over here, this is candle number 1. This is going to be a better representation of what I want to just talk about here. Candle number 1, the top of the candle body is this level right over here, 733. And what happens in candle number 4 is we break that level and then we turn it into a new support before moving towards the upside to new all-time highs. And it's very easy to break past this red level, so that wicking resistance. So essentially speaking, we're just comparing this candle-bodied resistance and this wicking resistance. So let's now focus on the next 4-year cycle. The top of the candle 1 right over here. Candle number 4 breaks past this level, but never truly gets to this level, right? And in fact, if you just focus on candle number 1, 2, and 3, you'll notice that 13.9 is a level that gets tested into resistance many times for 3 years, and then we break out from there, but never actually retest this level as a support. And of course, we tend to see that support, the analogous support here is 733. Of course, the data, the sample size for this is very small, but what we can understand here is that we tend to see a previous 4-year cycle resistance turn into one of new support. But the thing about this candle 4 and this candle 4 is that this one was a more exuberant candle 4. And because it was exuberant, that also means that we might not have to see such significant downside to compensate for this exuberance. Because right over here, this was a small candle 4. So that pullback into 733 wasn't too much of a stretch because it was really normal technical price action. Right over here, this candle 4 is really strong. And to see candle number 1 now pull back to as low as 13.9, that seems a little bit unlikely. It seems unlikely, but if we just focus on previous levels that Bitcoin tends to test as supports, then this being the next 4-year cycle level, 1,160, roughly speaking, in that previous level, in that previous cycle, and this being the current 4-year cycle level to watch out for on a pullback. So if we just now lose 29k, the next region would be to watch out for this level, right? This 20,000 level. That's the next 4-year cycle level. But also we have to potentially focus on this, because while this is a 4-year cycle resistance to pay attention to, this is also a resistance which forms a block of sorts, such as so. So could we try to attempt to extrapolate this sort of logic somewhere around here? What would be 20k and a little bit lower than that? Which is quite interesting, because once a death cross happens, a similar amount of downside that occurred prior to the death cross occurs after the death cross. And we've already seen a 53% retracement. So does that mean that now that we've seen the death cross, we'll see another 53% retracement? Because if that were to be the case, then we'd revisit this 18 to 20k region, which ties in with this 4-year cycle resistance and level. That's something interesting to bear in mind. But at the moment, we are holding this 29 key support level, this key resistance, this key level for the 4-year cycle. These are the 4-year cycle levels to overall pay attention to. And once we lose that 29k region, then there's not much resistance stopping price from going much lower than that. But until we lose this level, we can't start to think about much lower levels. We need to watch out for how price will continue to react at that 29k region. And if we finally lose it, then we can start to look a little bit lower. In any case, guys, that's about it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future. And of course, like the video if you enjoyed the content. I'm Rekt Capital, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Speak to you soon.